everybody, and welcome to the 16th race of the 2025 VTuber racing season here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. In the intro, there seemed to be a little bit of a misunderstanding as to the short track that we were going to be running around this time. It looked like the Pepsi Superdome. It was not going to be the Pepsi Superdome, mainly for logistical copyright reasons. I'm not allowed to do that. So we've had to kind of take things to what we did last season at a track that had an entertaining race, and we went to Bristol. So now we're back for our second running at Bristol Motor Speedway. Moving my mic because I'm a little too close. Sorry. Once again, got to be a little bit quiet today because folks are asleep. But again, I don't know why I don't record these during the day. I record these during the night. I am a night owl. I am sorry. So before we get into today's race here at Bristol Motor Speedway, let's take one last recap at Auto Club last race. That had a chaotic finish. Probably going to be the most chaotic finish. I don't know if you're ever going to see a more chaotic finish, to be honest. I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't think it's going to get more chaotic than that. But the top four all essentially wrecking each other, with one of those four slipping by the 38 of Ruby Nekomata, taking away that little victory of theirs, which is, to say the least, still one of the most, again, chaotic finishes you'll see this season. But in terms of the big picture here, which is the point standings, which I'll pull it up right now, we have ourselves a battle for the championship lead heading into this race here today. It is a 1-point gap between Dokibird and Noriboshi. So that's going to be what we're going to be focusing on a lot today, but we also have William, Sole, Kaito Nasa, Snuffy, Kyoso, and Competito all within a good rough shot at the championship lead. A little bit of a long shot once you get down to Competito. There's also a couple other drivers in the top 10 and outside of it as well that could maybe take away the championship lead, but a lot more has to go their way than the drivers that I just named off. So if a repeat of what we saw at California happens with the three of Dokibird and even Noriboshi at the same time too, we are going to see another switch up in the championship running here after Bristol. And I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the points because I will do that during the race, and I know that that was a bit annoying during California, but we're entering that stretch where we kinda have to see who the champion's gonna be and who second in the championship standings would be at the end of the season, because it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be quite a tight battle, to say the least. So we are going to be doing qualifying a little bit different here this race. I realized during my editing of the race at California, I spent way too much time speaking about the starting lineup, and let me be real honest with you, especially here today at Bristol where we have 325 laps. Don't think qualifying is going to really matter that much, especially with how the season's been. So I'm going to go through the top 20, the first half of the qualifying results, and then I'll let the rest just kind of scroll by while I kill time for a couple extra minutes. Angelina Kamala will start on the pole for today's race. Alongside of them will be Michi, who suffered a wreck last race at California. And speaking of that, Ruby starts from 3rd place and Sole starts from the 4th place spot in the 2nd row. In the 3rd row today we have Mint and Utica Fujikura, and then we go down to Chris and Merriweather in the 7th and 8th spot respectively. And then rounding out the top 10 is Kyoso and Noriboshi, a championship contending driver in 10th place. Kaito Nasa in 11th, Getu in 12th, Kohai 13th, Snuffy will start 14th, Subaru will start in the 15th spot, Ina starting at 16th, Asa will start at 17th, the championship leader of Dokibird starts 18th, and Kurokunai starts in the 19th spot, and rounding out the first half of the field for today's race will be Jojo in the 27 car. The rest of the field will continue from there. 325 laps around Bristol Motor Speedway, the short track king of all short tracks. It's going to be a crazy one to say the least. If anybody has remembered the 2024 race, it was a pretty chaotic race, all things considered. I'm not entirely too sure what to expect here today, considering the changes that we've had throughout the course of the 2 seasons, comparing the 2 at least. We've seen a lot of differences between the first race and the second race at a certain track, with the only real exception being maybe Atlanta. Atlanta, we had more... Actually, no. Actually, now that I think about it, even Atlanta had some differences in how it drove, because in the first season, it was almost everybody contending with each other to end the race. At Atlanta, it was only that way because we had a couple restarts, but it got to the point to where drivers were getting lapped under speed. So things are going to be really interesting here at this race compared to what we saw in the 2024 running of this race. Maybe indigestion. All right. So keep an eye on the points here today. Remember, the 1 point difference is 1 position or a lap led for Noriboshi. That's all they need to get, and they'll be the championship leader. As long as they're ahead of Doki Bird in any capacity, they'll be the championship leader. Doki Bird needs to stay ahead of Noriboshi, so keep an eye on both the 3 and the 94 for today. We'll also keep track of the 10 of William and the 420 of Soleil, as they could take advantage of a bad race out of the top 2 of the championship standings. Maybe Kaito Nasa and Snuffy, as well as Kyoto, as well as Competito, but long shots become longer shots as we go farther down that list. That out of the way, let's take it down to track side and let's get this race underway. 325 laps around this short track. We can fit it in almost one entire camera angle, with the exception of maybe turns 1 and turns 2. So there's that. Field rolls off. These lap times, like we saw in the qualifying results, they will be about 15 seconds. So despite it being 325 laps, it might go quickly. Snap of a finger. Realize my shadows are off, but you know, in this game, they'll crash the game more times than not. Pace car is in the pit lane, and we're off for 325 laps around Bristol Motor Speedway. Green flag is out. Michi with a good jump on that high side. Clears the 20 going into turn 2, but here comes the 20 back to the inside for the race lead. Nope, and we'll think twice about that. So Michi will come off turns 3 and 4 and will lead the first lap here today. 3 wide, a couple cars back. Back to that here. There we go. A couple drivers here. Chris, Kaito. Ooh, contact between Chris and the 28 of Kohai. Making things work from there. Michi pulls out to a decent chunk of a lead, so let's go back to the back here. Actually, I have to get spectator view for this because of how tight everything is. The field, that's how the field rounds out at the moment. Three laps have been completed so far already. There's a battle for second between the 38, last race's winner, and Kamalo, last race's dominant performer. Led the most amount of laps at California. Unfortunately, fell back due to strategy and wasn't able to get a good finish out of it. And now the 38 musters up to the second place spot and is chasing down the 2. A good run off of turns 3 and 4. And will close the gap to the 2 car at the moment. Ruby Nagamata making it their case for the championship very late in the season. Gets a good run off turn 4, able to close the gap on the 2 car going into turns 1 and 2. My game is still doing the stuttering issue. I don't know why. Still haven't fixed that. In any case, I have a lead change here. The 38 goes back to the front. Whoa, the 2 almost hitting the turn 4 outside wall. And Michi will leave and lose second to Kamalo. See if they can get it back here off turns 3 and 4. Had a good run there. Let's see what they can do with turns 1 and 2. It goes by this quickly. Looks to the inside. A little loose off exit there. Still tries to send it deep into that corner and does so. Michi back to second. Comes Kyoso to the inside of Kamalo for the third spot. Gets it. Ten laps in, just like that. .377 is our current leader's best lap at the moment. Kamalo's going back for the third spot. Can't get it off the exit there, but will send it in deep. Or Kyoso allowed the 20 to get in that little gap there, but that's allowed NASA to get underneath as well, unless the 47 has a issue of some sorts. Oh, it does not look like it. Just lost a few spots right there. Looks like we might have another battle for the lead as Michi's trying to get back to the race lead here. Now, like I said, all the 38 had to do at California was lead the last lap, and that was their only lap that they led in their quest to get their first victory of this season. But they're leading a lot more than just the one today. They got more than that at the moment. If they can hang on to this and get a solid finish again, they will definitely be back in the championship hunt, regardless of what happens with the 3 and 94. Because like I said, winning the race will get you a good jump on the championship hunt, awarding 3 bonus points there, as well as leading a lap if you haven't already. So that would be 4. In the case of Ruby, that's exactly what they got. They got those 4 bonus points in 1 lap just because they gained a spot and won the race and also led a lap. I think we're starting to see... I'm hearing it. I'm not seeing it, but I'm hearing maybe some lap traffic ahead. I saw it briefly on this camera. Yes, right off the bat, 20 laps into this run, we are going to be seeing some lap traffic. I think that's the 31 that's ahead of it. Yes. And Mint's also in this as well, so several drivers that started up front looking at a bad situation right now. Most of the field is pretty spread apart, which is definitely different from what we saw from Season 1, or the 2024 season. Yeah, right now, Mint, Overdrive, and Greg are battling not for a position, but to stay on the lead lap. As a 38 and the 2 are barreling down that pack of cars, which might help out Kamalo, who's trying to get back to the front of this field here in third place. Is currently falling back quite a bit, losing some time, as well as NASA, Kyoso, and Kohai. Dreamer's up in the mix as well. Subaru, Merryweather, and Iron Mouse, that's the top 10. Then Weebu and Noriboshi battling it out. So far, so good for the 94 in their quest. Because right now, Doki Bird's sitting 28th, so not a good couple of pair of races, I should say, for the 3 team. Yeah, 25 laps about to be in here, and Ruby's going to put the 12 one lap down. And the thing about Bristol is once you go 1 lap down, it's almost impossible to get it back. Because of how short this track is, you're going to have a lot of competitors also being down a lap. So, as we see here, lap traffic's also playing in a factor as the 2's going to be back out ahead. And Ruby falls not to second, but to third because of the lap traffic. And as well, Overdrive goes down a lap. So that's made the 38 fall back quite a bit. It's allowing the 2 to maybe get a little bit of a gap out here. As now Greg goes down a lap and is now 2 cars 1 lap down. May make it 3 here momentarily as Mint of the 26 is going to go down a lap. This is helping Michi at the same time put out a gap, I should say, on the 20. As now a little bit of clean traffic ahead. Not too much, but enough. We are going to see the lap time starting to diminish a little bit more and more, especially in lap traffic. There's a battle for second. Kamalo and Ruby. Good move there by the 38. Puts them back to second spot. Good run so far by the top three. Right now, the next two cars to go a lap down would be David and Kiri Kilovolt. And those two drivers also struggled. Ooh, California last race as Kilovolt gets a little swirly off exit of 2. In front of the 2, that's kind of checked up the 2, and here comes a 38 with a good run. Yeah, the thing about these cars is that you can tell that they're a little bit loose off exit here on both corners. Now Michi's trying to fight not only the 34, but also the 38 just behind. Here comes the 38 back to the inside, has the space, and has the position at the line. And now clears. And now Kilovolt looking to the inside, trying to get their lap back. Just helping out the 20. Oh my god. Almost in the wall, and here comes a 20 to the inside. Contact. Top three about to wreck each other. Oof. Kamalo takes the lead. Michi to second. Ruby back to third. This is really intense at the moment. 35 laps into the race here. And the lead battle has not really died out at all. The leader not given much of a chance to breathe, if at all, before getting attacked once more. There's a little bit of a space here until you get to David, and even more so once you get past him. Oh, yeah, you can definitely tell on the exit of 2 there. That's probably the worst place for a lot of drivers. I don't know how turn 4 is. It does look like turn 4, you're more tight off exit than loose. On turn 2, you're more loose off than tight. So that's... oh, man. Now David goes down a lap. Now we're entering the 16-second lap times, although I don't know if that's more to do with the speed of the cars starting to fade or the fact that they're just surrounded by traffic and having to check up a lot off exit. Because the top three, they have really good handling race cars, and then you get back and back and back into the field into the 20s and 30s, you'll find many drivers that do not have that handling. And now, because of what we're seeing now with the clean traffic, caution's out. There is a car. I think I saw a car smoking. Or maybe I didn't. Oh, no, there is a car on. Oh, it's Kyoso. Trouble for the 47 of Kyoso. We're under caution, and he's done for the day. So 40 laps in, and Kyoso blows an engine. This is back in the 9th place spot. We're mentioning a little bit that Kyoso had a little bit of trouble with some speed. This is coming off turn 4 that we're looking at here. Not really surrounded by anybody. Dealing with some lap chat. Yeah, it just goes. It just dies. Wow. So that's the 47 just blowing a motor. And let's see. Does anybody... well, the 12 gets in the wall. I don't think that's the caution, because the caution came out here, unless it was for the blown engine and they just had to call it on the backstretch, because it doesn't look like there's anybody around. So nobody wrecked, it's just the 47 blew up, and that's what caused the yellow, because nobody's spun out. The 12 did get into the wall, but that's the extent of that. And that'll put us under caution for the first time here at Bristol Motor Speedway. So we're going to have the leaders coming down into the pit lane. You'll see the top 3 peeking into the thick of things here, but they have such a big gap to everybody else that that's kind of going to be basically the top 3 that we're going to be seeing here off pit lane. Keeping an eye on the top 3 here. Look at all that traffic that's staying out right now. It looks like Kamalo and Ruby are going to be the first off. And it looks like Michi's slower stop on the 2 car there. They'll come out a few positions back. Yeah, all these drivers... Actually, no, there's a couple that did stay out. Not too sure if they stayed out on strategy or if they're staying out. So they just missed the opportunity to pit the first time around. 22 still in the pit lane there, so I think they'll go a lap down. We're going to have to keep an eye... Yeah, like, the Colossians are really going to screw up a lot of the running order here because of how short this track is. So, it might take us a few minutes here to get this all sorted out. Once I think I figured out what everything's going down here at this track, I'll have an update. Like a lot of the drivers that stayed out, now they're coming into the pits. So they're not risking going a lap down or more. So now everything should be taken care of at the moment. Like Dreamer will get that bonus point for leading a lap. He stayed out a couple extra laps. I think we're one... No, we're not. Okay, good. So it'll be, once it updates here, Kamalo, Ruby, Merryweather, Michi, and NASA the top 5. Then Kohai in 6th, Kudo in 7th, Jojo in 8th, and Noriboshi in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Subaru, Asa in 11th, Fujikura in 12th. 13th will be Doki Bird, 14th Getu, 15th of Chris, Soleil in 16th. 17th will be Sanufi. 18th will be Ina. Couple cars a lap down here. Iron Mouse in 19th. Kason in 20th. Dreamer 21st. Competito 22nd. Jordan 23rd. 24th of William. The 11. Actually going to come out ahead of the 5 here. I think on the lead lap. Yes, so that'll be... Yeah, okay. Basically, this is the rest of the field on back. Couple extra cars in the pits this time by. Although they better get out quickly. They might go a lap down. So the 47 car is out of the race. And I think there's only one car that's going to come out on the inside line here, and that's the 26. A couple cars took the wave around, and because we had an extra lap of pacing, not against the rules to do this, they took the wave around and then added an extra lap. So because of that, they decided to pit, so not a bad strategy call there, I guess. So the only car one lap down is Mint in the 26, pace car's in, and we're back racing. The 26 is going to give the 38 the lane to make the move for the lead, and does so there. There goes Merryweather. Trying to make something happen here. 20 and the 2 both are struggling right now. 20 car very tight off here at the beginning of this run. The 20 not having any momentum here. 60 at the wall there. And I'll put Kohai to second. Here comes Michi to the inside for third. Oh, man. A battle for the lead here between the 28 and the 38. For the lead, here comes the 28 to the inside. And takes it. Oh, man. I don't know how you can get that close to the wall and not hit it. No damage on the 38. That was very close. Here's third place. Merryweather slips up a little bit there. Oh, there's Doki Bird ahead of the 94. Championship battle for can't speak. The 20's falling back outside the top 10. There's Doki Bird inside the top 10. Actually, might be able to gain up a couple more spots here, maybe. They're going to need all they can get right now. Currently in 7th. Meichi's falling back a couple spots. Here comes Noriboshi to the inside. Don't really want to be that aggressive here this early in the race. I know the laps are clocking down real quick, but probably not the move to be super aggressive. Doki Bird and Noriboshi right on the cusp of the top 5. Good move to keep the 94 on the outside line. They'll drop them back a couple spots. Currently right now the lead's out of 1.5 seconds. Oh my god, that 2 got really loose off exit there. Almost got spun out in front of the 33. Same thing happened there with the 94. Here they come. Big shunt to the inside here. And that'll put the 94 ahead of the 3 and the 33 ahead of the 3. So a lot of numbers that I'm saying right now. But more importantly, that'll put Noriboshi on top of the championship. Battle for second. With Subaru in the 44, battling the 38. Right now, Kohai is driven away from the rest of the field. Still managing the 26, but not aggressively doing anything against her at the moment. There is some lap traffic ahead here. So that'll really drop this gap from a 2-second gap down sooner rather than later. Go back to that battle for second. I think Kohai just got ahead of the 26. Yeah. Well, that's good news for the 28. They continue to build that gap. This battle for second's heating up quite a bit. Then you got JoJo and Noriboshi just behind, watching this with a front row seats. Comes a 44 to the inside. Good run off the exit of 2. And a good move on the inside. So that'll shift a couple of positions there at the front of the field. Snuffy making a move on Kurdo for the 6th spot. Gets it. And as well as the 30 will lose another spot to the 89. Go back to the back of the top 10 here. Got Soleil battling Weebu for that 11th spot. Just behind them is Doki Bird. It's a good battle here for the 10th spot. 2 drivers that suffered a lot at California. Just did not have the race at all. The 12 looks like they're in the pits. 11 definitely having not a great day whatsoever at California. And Soleil as well, they were battling for the championship. They still technically are, but they definitely need to, at the very least, get a top 10 finish here today if they want to stay in the thick of things. Even if Noriboshi finishes way ahead of everybody else in that hunt, it's going to still be a chance for Soleil to get into the championship thick of things here, as Noriboshi is actually going to try and climb up to 3rd here. Just got 4th, and the 12 was in the pits because broken suspension. Oh my god. So another mechanical problem's taking out another driver. I mentioned the 12 was in the pits. I didn't think he was in the pits for mechanical problems. Actually, I did think it was going to be a mechanical problem. I didn't think it was a fatal mechanical problem. So that takes 2 cars out of the race. Oh, Subaru's actually right up in this pack here for the lead. Didn't even really notice that. The 28's all screwed up with lap traffic. Subaru's in the mix now. And the inside for the race lead is the 44. I think they got it at the line. Just barely. But look at how bad this lap traffic is. The 53, the 23, and the 5, they are all not on the lead lap. They're all one lap down. Subaru managing this really well. I think the next car heads Kamala. Wow, the 20 suffering way too much on this run here. They were battling for the lead in the first run, and now they went into the pits, made an adjustment, and it's not a good adjustment for the 20 team. Because now they're going to go a lap down now. Or at least they're the next car too at the moment. The next couple would be David, William, and was that Mint ahead? I think Mint is ahead, so not only did Mint get ahead of the leaders, she's also driven around the track and caught the back of the pack to gain up a few spots. What a run by the 26. That's really impressive. Genuinely, that is pretty impressive. Yeah, the top 3 that we were mentioning earlier in the first 30-lap run, they're all outside the top 10 now. Michi sitting in the 21st spot. Kamala we just saw go a lap down, and Ruby, I think, just fell out of the top 10. Just did. And now Soleil up to 9th. And Kohai is definitely fighting this lap traffic way more than the 44 is. Now David tried to unlap himself here. He's going to allow the 28 to just have the 44 ahead and not any other lap car. So here comes the 28 back to the inside. This is going to be another lead change here. The 44 tries to set it in deep, can't do it. The 89's in the mix as well. They're on the lead lap, as well as Noriboshi. So 4 drivers battling it out here for the race lead around this lap traffic. Here comes Dreamer. Well, look to the inside. Didn't make the move. Not yet, at least. Did it again. It wouldn't be his first lap lead of today, but it would be under green flag conditions. So the top 4 are all on top of each other right now. They're these 4 cars right there, including the new championship leader of Noriboshi. William gets loose off exit there. Big wiggle out of the 10. Dreamer's now to the race lead. What we're seeing behind him, it's definitely the best opportunity for them to get a gap. They got the 10 in front of them, which is definitely hindering them a lot. Here comes Noriboshi to second. Good run by the 94 so far in the early goings here. They get a lap lead here. That'll really help them out in the quest for the championship. And they just got by William, who was another contender. So now the 10's a lap down. Noriboshi looking to get on top of the board here, which would be really detrimental to everybody second on back of the championship. Noriboshi to the point here. And give it the lap lead bonus for the 94. Good lap times here for the top 4, by the way. They're all still right on top of each other. Lap traffic definitely playing a factor here. You could even add in the 33. I saw Snuffy getting more and more bigger in the picture. They definitely are climbing because of this lap traffic. So the top 5 are all on top of each other roughly. However, not as tightly contested as it once was. Kilovolt's about to go another lap down here. Actually, they're on the lead lap at the moment. So far, we have 31 cars on the lead lap, last one being the 34. The 10, the 77, the 20, the 14, 5, 53, and 23 are all one lap down, whereas the 12 and the 47 are the 2 cars that have DNF'd, as the 34 has scraped the wall on the exit of 4 there. Both have DNF'd due to mechanical problems. 47 blew up, which gave us that first caution. And then the 12 went into the pits for something in the suspension breaking. Now Noriboshi dealing with a lot more heavy traffic. Fujikura's now gone down a lap. Ina's the next one to go. Mint still climbing up through the field, might I add. She restarted as the one and only car one lap down. I think 39th would have been the position at that point in time. And now they've gained more than those. Not only they gained that lap back, but they've gained 10 spots. And like I said, they would have had to gone through the entire racetrack just to get to the back of the pack. So whatever adjustments they made in the pits definitely is helping the 26. It's just a shame that they weren't restarting up front because they were on the lead lap, but rather they were a lap down. And they're also on the verge of going back down a lap if they aren't too careful or if they aren't too aggressive, I should say. There's Michi and NASA. We saw those two up at the front not too long at the start of the race. My God, my voice. The top four back together once again. Dreamer goes back to third, getting underneath the 28. Now here comes Subaru for the lead and gets it. Not even a chance for the 94 to say anything about it. Dreamer back to second, looks like. They're dealing with the one of Ina at the moment. And a little bit of a checkup there, and now Dreamer back to the lead. And he's going to try and put the one to the outside. Get by them. And now the next car would be the 2 to go a lap down, and Dreamer's making it look easy right now. With the 1 and the 2, 1 lap down just like that. Going to build a bit of a gap here as now the 28 gets by the 2. And the 44 is going to continue to struggle a little bit here. So that run that the 26 is on right now, it's slowly coming to an end as Dreamer's about to put him 1 lap down once again. Big dive to the inside there. And now Mint has gone back to being 1 lap down. Big checkup on the exit there by the 89. Here comes the 28. Back to the inside. It held up by a little bit by NASA, I should say. Big checkup there once again. Gotta remember the cars that are at the tail end of this pack here, fighting to stay on the lead lap. Their car doesn't handle as well as the leaders. So they go into the corner, maybe not expecting that the leader would dive deeper and deeper, and it might cause something here sooner rather than later. We're now in the triple digits of laps completed here. We're at 102 about to be completed. So we're close to a third of the way through this race. Next car to go a lap down will be the 73 of Chris. But before that can happen, Subaru is going to look to get back to the top of the board here. And does so. Get to in the 23, about to go 2 laps down. Because they're the last car 1 lap down, which means that they'll be the first car 2 laps down here in a second. Chris right now is on the 25th spot, so that's still a pretty good race for them at the moment. Considering how bad their season's been all throughout this year. The checkups are getting worse and worse for these lap cars here. We're about to hit more than a second. Actually, we are more than a second off the pace here from the start of the run to now. Comes Snuffy to the inside of the 28, trying to take that third spot away. And Mint is going to shove the 89 up the racetrack. And Mays might even look back to the inside for that position and does so. Look at this mess! Here comes Kohai, 2 for 1. Back to the lead. The 28, the 33, and the 11 are now the top 3. What a shift. Some contact back here. This is still not done. Wow. And now Snuffy to the race lead. The action just continues no matter where I look. Go high, trying to make that outside line work, but it's kind of difficult to. And now Snuffy is the race leader, followed by Weebu and Dreamer, and then Subaru and Kohai. That is the top 5, and they're all right next to each other, contesting any position possible. Dreamer to second. Subaru looking for that second spot now. I really want to go on to some more battles back here, but this lead battle just never stops. Here comes Subaru again to the inside, takes it away. That's another lead change. NASA's in the mix, although not on the lead lap. But throwing the drivers that are. Oh, 73 hard on the wall, the 73. Oh, and the 21 takes a big shot to the front right there. Oh my God. Zool, major damage on the front end, and he's going to come in from 7th place. A heartbreaker for the 21. He was wrecked out at California, and now he's wrecked out again. Legitimately, that knocked the engine out of the 21. So now 3 cars have been knocked out from the race. All that, and we missed a ton of action up front. Noriboshi's now up to 2nd. And Subaru's all by herself, surrounded by a bunch of lap cars. Now the 14's in the wall. Oh my God. Getting farther and farther in this run, and seeing drivers hit the wall and drivers hitting each other. The 73 does have that rear end damage, although hard to tell. The camera angles, there it is. There's Benton rear end on the 73. And meanwhile, the lap traffic still hasn't gotten worse, or even better. Whoa, that was tight. So now we got 3 cars that are 2 laps down with Competito, Getu, and Asa. And now you got 3 cars out of the race with Zool, Overdrive, and Kyoso. All technically mechanical, but the 21 definitely had some damage there. I didn't think it would knock the engine out of the 21, but it did. Oh, the 44 gets loose on exit. Right now we got 21 cars on the lead lap, and the last one on it is the 26 again. Meanwhile, for second place, Dreamer and Weebu going at it. But they got Larry in the 4 and Competito surrounding them, which isn't helping the 89, nor is it really helping the 11, to be honest. And behind all that, you got Noriboshi and Kohai. Then a couple cars back, you got Snuffy, Soleil, and that's that for that position. Bell in 8th place, all by themselves. 9th place is Kuro Kurenai, and then you got Jordan, Jojo, and Iron Mouse. A couple cars back there. That's how that shakes up for the most part. It's a 2.5 second lead, and now we've got a small wind between the top 2, and a big opportunity to catch our breath with everything that just transponded. Weebu got by the 89, is now driven away, and now that battle's shifted to 3rd. As now Dreamer's dealing with speed stuck on that outside line, can't get to the bottom where it's been more dominant. But then you got Noriboshi dealing with the slow traffic ahead. That whole incident with Zool and Chris really did separate a bunch of this field. Ever since then, the 44 is driven away, and everybody else has kind of done this. Everybody else has kind of split themselves apart. Now looks like we got pit stops here. We have run long enough. I'm not too surprised if that's a scheduled stop by the 94. Yeah, there are a couple extra cars coming in, including Mint. So yeah, we do have green flag pit stops here at Bristol. Get ready for more chaos. Thought it was chaotic before. If anything happens during this, it's going to be a nightmare to settle. So keep an eye on Subaru because they're the race leader, and I'm going to try my best to cover everything that happens. But I'm going to mostly just focus on the 44 because they are the race leader, and it's not even a competition for the most part. Yeah, a lot of drivers are coming in. You got a lot of drivers that are going to be using this right here. This is going to be chaotic with the dual pit lanes that we got. Soleil and Merriweather, and then Doki Bird. I think that's Kamalo that's in the pits. Tenzin as well. There's the pole sitter in the pits. Fujikura. 44 is still out on the racetrack here. Running a little bit long. Definitely not the worst strategy when you have a 2.5 second lead here. As well, when you have a little bit of open track, you definitely can afford to go a couple extra laps longer, especially if you feel like you haven't used up your stuff enough. And there it is. There's the caution. Oh, boy. And JoJo's around. Oh, boy. Here we go. You want chaos? Alright. What happened to the 27? So I do believe the 27... No, they have not pitted yet. So they're on old tires. Kason as well. 27 is sliding up on exit. Too deep into 1 and 2. Got into the 24. Then gets into the 32. And around they all go. Starlight with nowhere to go, pounds into the 27. Zen avoids it. Oh my god. Avoided that. I think it's just the 27 getting spun around. And then the chaos around here, but that doesn't involve anybody else. Oh boy. You want to talk about the chaos that's going to come from this? You have drivers that... Okay, let's bring it back to live, and I'll show you what it's gonna do. So all of the leaders that haven't pitted yet, and that was a handful of them, they will be all coming into the pits here, and now Merriweather's out of the race. Good to know that. So another mechanical problem. Why is today the mechanical problem race? We haven't had one of these races in a while. So the one that's going to benefit the most out of this is the one that just came out of the pits. And that's the 44. No matter what, I do believe they will start up front. So there may be several drivers that'll stay out ahead of the 44, and they'll be the race leader. But the 44 is going to start up front. They ran long, and now they got the freshest tires too. So they will also be faster than mostly everybody else. I say that though, but a lot more drivers have came into the pits here, and a lot of these drivers, with the exception of a handful, let's actually bring this up here so I could see what is being shown here. So there's currently the race leader of Bell going into the pits, as well as 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place going in. So yeah, everybody in this category has gone into the pits. Again, this is way too much for me to sort out in such a short time. For my sake, I hope this is an extended caution, because if not, this is going to be way too much of a mess for me to figure this out. I mean, it's a lot for these guys to figure out. They're running all over the place. 136 laps into the books here, and yeah, whatever's going on, take a guess. So right now, it looks like the 44 is the race leader. And ahead of the 44, because they haven't crossed... Let's see, where is the 44? There's the 44. So now we should be all settled. Took a bit. We'll wait for one final a trip, I should say, across the line. That should be everything updated in terms of the positions. Hopefully. Yes. So what is that going to do for the entire field? Look to the inside line. That is full of lap cars. All of these drivers on the inside line are now 1 lap down. All the cars on the outside line, the exception of some of the cars that are pitting and stuff like that. All the cars on the outside line are on the lead lap. All the cars on the inside are 1 lap down. There is a ton of cars 1 lap down now, thanks to the 44 strategy. Including the championship leader and the other championship leader. Just keep an eye on the leaderboard through a majority of this. I can't go through the field. Too much, too little time. Green flag. Belt splits the deuce 3 wide with Noriboshi contact. Ooh, that was tight. You tell that a lot of drivers are frustrated now that they are 1 lap down after that whole mess. So there is the top 10 at the moment. Now let's take a look back behind the top 10. 11th on back is at least 1 lap down, and we have a ton of cars that are 2 laps down at the moment. Let's go behind into the back half of the field. You see that there's a ton of drivers 2 laps down. And now we get to the back, the final 10 spots, where we have several drivers multiple down, including the 3 Adoki Bird. Merryweather, Zool, Overdrive, and Kilso are out of the race due to mechanical problems or a wreck, either way. So the top 10, as it stands, we got Subaru, Bell, Shy Lily, Snuffy, K-Sod, Jordan, Starlight, Shalon, Iron Mouse, and Greg all on the lead lap. Those are the 10 cars that are battling for this spot in particular. You got Jojo, Ruby, Michi, David, Competito. Then you also have Weebu, who's also a lap down. The 45, Mentrix, a lap down. And Fifi, who's about to go 2 laps down just ahead of here. Then beyond that, you got Noriboshi, Soleil, Kohai, Mint, Dreamer, Ina. Then you also have the 7 of Zen, Getu, the 34, the 4, the 51, and the 30. 2 laps down. And then the 73, the 84, the 20, and the 10. Still 3 down. With Doki Bird and Asa 4 and 5 down. And that's if we don't have any scoring issues, which we had a lot of those last season. Either way, at the very least, we only have these 10 cars on the lead lap at the moment, and that might be what we got for the rest of the race. That's how messed up this race just became. All because of that caution during green flag pit stops. It was a long shot, though. So right now, there's going to be a massive shift in the points after this race, regardless. Not even because a lot of these drivers are having bad races. It's just the caution really messed everybody up. Except for 10 drivers. Now, I was only really focusing on what was going on with Subaru, and again, pit stops happened way too fast here. There was a ton of drivers that were pitting while the caution was out, and before, just before the caution came out. So, yeah, I really only know Subaru's story. The rest, kind of crazy how they were all staying out. And I mean, either way, Soleil's going for not for position, but to get their lap back. For position, though, it's Bell. Melanie Bell to the race lead. We can still have lead changes in this race, regardless of the fact that it's now very split. So yeah, still as of this moment, not much has changed in terms of the scoring. In fact, I think the scoring's roughly the same. I keep mentioning that because, like I said, we've had a couple scoring errors, not only this season, but last season. Some drivers will be put 1 or 2 laps down. Some drivers may be a lap or 2 ahead than they should be, but we just go with it. We just go with it. Right now, it's the run. This has become a race where some drivers are going to be questioning if they should have pitted earlier or not, because that caution is the example, prime example, as to what can happen if you stay out for too long. You get that lucky caution, and now you're up front. For a lot of drivers, they definitely should have stayed out. And now we also have another caution, debris in turn 3. Doesn't look like any damage. But we're back under caution here at Bristol. I think we'll settle things down a little bit more now that we've kind of gone through everything in terms of a refresher. Since it was debris, and I don't think nobody's damaged. Except the 73. Looks like the 44's in. Is that the 44? Somebody's in that's yellow. Yeah, it is Subaru. Subaru is in the pits. The only one on the left side that's pitting. Although there's a ton of drivers that are a lap down, so, you know, there's that. There's a couple more that are actually pitting this time. It's just Subaru was way too far ahead of everybody. Looks like Michi gets the wave around there. They were the first car 1 lap down. So they will get the wave around. So now there'll be a ton of cars coming into the pits this time, but all of those cars are 1 lap down. Also, looks like a couple of the other leaders are going in as well, so we may have a few wave arounds this time by. And it also does look like there may be a couple extra cars that are staying out too. Keep an eye on it here. I think I can bring it back down to the pace car here. So yeah, all these cars right now that are going past the pace car are all at least 1 lap down. And they're going to go around, hopefully, either go around the pace car or they're pitting, one of the two. But yeah, should be settled here momentarily. So that should settle everything out in terms of pit stops. What that will not sort out for the moment is the leaderboard. There might be a few extra cars on the lead lap this time by, because we had a couple wave rounds and a couple cars. I think Michi, at the very least, should be back on the lead lap. There's still going to be a ton of cars 1 or 2 laps down. That's why we have double file restarts. Not necessarily modern, but, you know, a ton of cars back to the inside line. I'd go through the field, but it's jumbled up to the point to where I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. So we're just going to have to go with what we see here. So the top 3 are all... I don't know why this is happening. Top 3 are together on the lead lap. Noriboshi's up in the mix here on the outside line, although not on the lead lap, and a ton of other cars on the outside line. Although the outside line is the end of longest line, and a lot of them were taking wave rounds, so there's that. But yeah, there's the top 10. Again, can't go through it. We are too far down the rabbit hole in terms of how screwed this race is. Green flag's back out here on 168 on the lap counter. Everything I'll wait a few laps to show beyond the top 10. Because everybody inside the top 10 is on lead lap. We should have 11 on the lead lap. Subaru once again back out ahead, and will continue to build a gap here, even more so now that they're ahead of the lap. Yeah, ahead of the lap cars. Yeah, so Michi's back on the lead lap, and that's roughly it. Nobody else is, nobody else... I don't think anybody else really took the wave around, and if they did, they went back into the pits and immediately went back down a lap. Looks like Shalon is also back on the... Oh, wait, no, Shalon was on the lead lap. Yeah, from the last run. So, yeah, okay. I think we have more cars 2 laps down, or less cars 1 lap down in general. Jesus. And regardless, it's been a headache of a day so far. What a headache. Ugh. Alright. So the cars that are 1 lap down at this moment, we have Jojo, Ruby, Soleil, David, Competito, Medtrix, and Weebu. Those are the only drivers 1 lap down. 2 laps down, you have Mint and Fujikura. Then beyond that, you got the 1, the 28, the 94, the 23, the 53, the 89, the 4, the 7, and the 34. If you remember those names that match the number, you'll know who they are. They are 2 laps down. 3 laps down or more, you got the 73, the 84, the 20, the 30, the 10, and then you got the 3 and the 14 that are more than 3 laps down. And then you got Merryweather, Zool, Overdrive, and Kyoso, the only drivers out of the race. Like I said, all because of mechanical problems, or for the 21's case, a broken engine after suffering damage. So that's where we're at, and I think we're more than halfway through this race. Yippee. And the 44 has just driven away from everybody else. Not just second place, but everybody else. More than a 3-second gap. It's only 1 car that separates the top 2. It's a lot more once you get back to the 3rd place car. So despite there being a couple of cars 1 lap down, it's still a good finish for several drivers. It's just now, if you really want to get technical here, we have multi-class racing at its finest right now. Got 11 drivers in 1 class, all on the lead lap, battling for the overall win. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, I think. 7 or 8 cars, all 1 lap down, battling each other. Especially if they get on top of the board here, they'll be back on the lead lap so they can upgrade their class. Then you have many more that are multiple laps down that are all battling just to get a better finish in that class. At best, if you're 2 down, you'll finish 19th. At best, if you're 3 down, you'll finish 30th. And any worse than that, you're basically 35th or worse, unless there's multiple cars that'll combust mechanically. Meanwhile, you also have the fact that this is a short track, and we're going to have more traffic here for the 44 to drive around, so ain't that fun. Yeah, so if you really want to talk about everything being all screwed up, all those dominant drivers that you saw at the first 100-lap mark of the race, yeah, they're no longer dominant with the exception of the 44. And Michi as well, who is back into the top 10 after getting the lap back, up to 8th place at the moment. But yeah, there is quite a number of cars that are in the mix here that you didn't see at first. Now you're seeing them now. Subaru and Snuffy, they were up at the front before green flag pit stops happened. And the only one that really wasn't was Michi, who we saw that was dominant early, but then after the first caution was very much mired back in traffic and went a lap down, but stayed out longer than everybody else and managed to only go 1 lap down, get the free pass from the debris caution, and now is 8th place. Really the only thing that happened under that caution was the 2 getting back on the lead lap because of the free pass. That was it. There was a couple cars that tried to do the wave around, but then they forced themselves back a lap down, and now I say that, here comes another one that's going to join that picture. Kason. Pitting from the top 10 on the lead lap. I don't think that's a scheduled stop for the 32. And they are going to go multiple laps down, so now we're back to 10 cars on the lead lap. What a mess. Oh boy, the 44 is 3 wide right now. The 17's also got a lap down as well, so now we're only down to 9 cars on the lead lap. That's just on speed. So now the first car 1 lap down is Shalon at the moment. So even if you go a lap down here at this race, you could still finish quite well. Subaru's just been that dominant today. And a strategy queen, to say the least. I almost said strategy king, but that wouldn't have been the best term to use. Not for the 44, at least. Man, right now it's only 9 cars on the lead lap. It's Subaru, Snuffy, Bell, then you got Starlight, and Shy Lily. That's the top 5. Ooh, the 53's on the wall. Uh-oh. And the 77's got side damage too. The 32's back in the pits. So a mechanical problem for the 32. That'll take them out of the race. Not entirely at the moment. Haven't retired from the race, but they are in and out of the pits multiple times. Anyways, continuing on down the list. From the 18 and the 5th place spot, you have Iron Mouse, Jordan, Greg, and Michi. That's everybody that can win this race. As well as Shy Lily, Starlight, Bell, Snuffy, and Subaru. Meanwhile, oh, and speaking of the 2, they're about to go a lap down. Again. Here comes Kason back into the mix. Woo! Yeah, that's not going to make the 2 very happy, I'll tell you that much. I was right in front of them. The 32 has been in and out of the pits multiple times. Multiple laps down now. Surprisingly, the 2 got away from that scot-free, and the 44 is being held up quite a bit. This traffic mess is insane, especially when you know that it feels never-ending. So now we got so we got 10th on down to 16th place that are 1 lap down. Maybe make it 9th to 16th here in a moment with Michi about to go a lap down. Oh, trying to survive, I'll tell you that much. 18th place on down to 24th place is 2 laps down. 25th place down to 33rd place is 3. And that's how that's how we stand right now, entering the 200 lap mark of the race. There's not much really going on in terms of interval battles. I also can't tell because it's hard to tell once you go back a lap. There's still some 3 wide action back here, though, regardless of position. Yee. I don't know how they didn't wreck. It's also really hard to tell if it's a class position battle or a nothing burger. The only way I'm going to be able to tell is this position right here being similar to where these are at. What a tough day for not only the 3, but the 20. They were both, like, they were doing decent. Not terrible. But now they're multiple laps down, and the same could be said for Dreamer. They led a lot of laps in this race, and now they're back in the 20s. Multiple down, like, geez. Sometimes you just gotta feel bad for several of these drivers. Like, they've had a good run today, and now it's just all for naught. Especially for Doki Bird. Doki Bird, I don't think was gonna exit this race with a points lead, but it still would have been, I would say, at worst, a 10-point deficit if they were to repeat what happened at California naturally, but this definitely isn't natural for the 3. Not in this case, being 35th and sitting 4 laps down. Yeah, 4 laps down. The only other position that they can gain at the moment is 34th for Kuro. You could still lose a spot to Asa, and that's like one that's even worse. Because, you know, while they weren't necessarily in a good spot before the green flag cycle, they definitely didn't make it better. Pitting and then going multiple laps down. And now with Greg about to go a lap down, we're only going to have 7 cars on the lead lap. Mint is still trying their best to charge through the field. I'll give them credit. I mean, they've been a lap down this entire race, and yet they're sitting 16th. Although they're 2 laps down, but still. That's still pretty good. JoJo's about to go 2 laps down here. This has been a very, very interesting race. It all got turned upside down because of that caution during the green flag stop. I mean, it definitely came at the worst possible time for a lot of drivers. So now let's see. 8th on down to 14th place is 1 lap down. Which is right now Greg, Michi, Ruby, and then you got Shalon, Competito, Weebu, and Mentrix. Good run for Competito regardless. They were at one point multiple down, but again, they stayed out long enough. They got the caution, and now they, while they aren't necessarily in a good spot, they're in a much better spot than they were before. So those drivers I just named off, those are all 1 lap down at the moment. Then 2 down, you got Mint, Soleil, Jojo, Kason, David, Kohai. Then back to 21st is 3 laps down with Dreamer, Chris, Getu, Fujikura, Ina, Zen, Kilovolt, Fifi, Larry, and NASA, as well as Noriboshi. Wow, Noriboshi's 3 laps down now? That's insane. I just now thought of that. Noriboshi, Kamalo, and William. Those are 3 laps down. And then you got Kuro and Doki Bird 4 down, and then Asa 5. Wow. I just wanted to pull up the championship here for a second. As soon as I say that, now green flag cycles happens again. God damn it. Well, nothing to lose for Subaru. They'll enter in first very early on. Now, this would be interesting if all the lead lap cars would come in, and then that would allow everybody that's a lap down or more to come in, and then they would pit, and then we would have a caution midway through this cycle. I hope to God that doesn't happen, because I'm already done with this race as is right now, and we still have 110 to go. The top 2 are in and out just like that. They're really the only ones that pitted at the moment. Oh, that's weird. They're the only ones that have pitted at the moment. That's allowed this 24 and the 69 to be the top 2 at the moment. I mean, that has opened up the door for only a handful of drivers to go back up a lap or 2. Oh, big run for the 24. I guess I'll try to do this as best as I can right now, but I feel like I'm going to get interrupted for some reason. So the championship leader coming into today's race was Doki Bird by 1 point. They're sitting 35th, as I just mentioned. Noriboshi, not in a good light either. 32nd. Where's William? William is currently 33rd. Oh my God, what a day for the top 3 in the points. This is super similar to California, and it's not even funny at this point. Soleil's doing the best out of all of them, currently in 15th place, which I think would actually put them the championship leader. I would think so. I would think that they would put them the championship leader. NASA would be the next car in line, and that's 29th place for them at the moment. Snuffy just pitted, but was running second, but is currently 16th. Kyoso's out of the race, and the only other driver is Competito, who's sitting in 9th place. So, I mean, there's still... it's going to be a shift. It's going to be a massive shift again. It's either going to be Soleil in the championship lead, or maybe Competito or Snuffy. It's one of those three as of this moment. We still have 100 laps to go, and I believe scheduled pit stops are happening, unless Subaru and Snuffy were running... No, there's a couple more that just entered. It's Ruby. And that's it. So, never mind. I thought there was more than that. So, varying strategies all across the board here. Now we're seeing more kind of enter in. Slowly but surely, I would say. I don't think we're seeing, like, multiple per lap. I think we're seeing, like, a handful per lap, if any. This is going to make for... Okay, so there's 24. They're coming in. This is a recipe for disaster once again, all I'm saying, because of the blend lines here. Wrong camera. The blend line here is either it's basically this area right here. You're either entering the pits on the backstretch or you're exiting the pits from the backstretch. I mean, some drivers... Actually, I think this is just a dual pit lane, not a single. So, yeah. So, oh, trouble! Oh my god, the 18's around. No caution. No caution. So, real quick, this is not a caution by any means, but Kason just gets tight off the exit and just gets into the 18, and bam! I can understand why that wasn't a caution. All of that happened here, which is not the racing line. They were running second. So now Shy Lily is definitely going to be out of the picture. They're staying out. They're not pitting immediately. Like I said, thank God, because that would have screwed everything up. Even more. Okay, yeah, okay. So continuing on. Okay, so Bell's in the pits. I think Snuffy got ahead. Yeah, Snuffy's out ahead of the 44. So there's all the green flag stops going on. And, oh no. Oh boy. Shy Lily gets a big break. We have a caution. We got ourselves a caution. Kason again? Are you kidding me? Man, this girl's been involved in everything today. And it's Subaru. Oh, and Mint, are you... Oh, my God. And that's a caution because the 26 is sitting stopped on the track. She was just having, like, a solid day, and now they're done. And that, once again, is going to screw everything up as we just were in the middle of green flag stops. Although later than the first wreck, this is still not going to change much. But the one that's going to benefit, I would think, the absolute most out of this is the one that got spun during the stops. What a fucking 10 laps for the 18. Getting spun from second place, staying out with all that damage, taking the lead, and not only that, putting more cars a lap down because of it. What a race. for good or bad, this is a race. If only they would pit so they would fix that damage because they, need to. I don't even know what the scoring is anymore. It happened once, and I'm already kind of like, ugh. But now it happened again, and now I'm even more like, ugh. The only one in the pits is JoJo at the moment. 17's getting the free pass, it looks like. Oh, man, there's going to be a lot of waiver rounds if this 18 pits, because the next car would be Snuffy. Never mind, it's only a few cars. I thought it was a lot more than that. So that'll hand the lead over to Snuffy. Unless Snuffy pits. And then it would go to the 44. So the 18's in the pits. Not entirely too surprising, is it? Is Snuffy pitting? Looks like we're going to have more waiver rounds. Because now we got to go back to the 44, who would be the race leader. And they're pitting. So now we got to go back to the 32. Who's all the way back here? Who's the leader? Is it Shy Lily still? Now that everything's mostly sorted out, the race leader's JoJo. It was the last car on the lead lap that we just saw, and now we're 1 to green. Now we have 15 cars on the lead lap now, I think. Oh my god. So, really quickly, so here's JoJo, Shy Lily, Belle, Kaysan, and Starlight, the top 5. Then Snuffy, Subaru, Shalon. And that's all there. And then you go way back, you'll find Jordan and Iron Mouse to round out the top 10. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Alright. Who's ready for another restart? JoJo's up front. Shy Lily, who just got spun from second, led under the caution with damage, is now second place, although I don't think is at 100%, if you couldn't tell. Belle's right behind, as well as Kaysan, who's been involved in everything today. Shy Lily's gonna block for their life. We're up to 15 cars on the lead lap now, so that's actually helped us in terms of the entertainment value. Because now we got more cars that could battle for the win. Now we only have 2 cars 1 lap down, that being Mentrix and Soleil. And then from 18th on down to 26th is 2 laps down. I really hope this is a run to the finish. I'm tired of cautions, man. I hate cautions at this track. Battle for 4th. Shalon, and yeah, Shalon just got the lucky dog because they were the first car 1 lap down. And because of all of the waiver rounds, they restarted in the middle of the field, and here they are, 5th place. What? What is even happening anymore? Again, all of this happened because the caution came out during green flag stops again. And several of these drivers up front stayed out longer. Unbelievable. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. This is peak VTuber racing at its finest. Shalon's up to 3rd. Shalon has a chance to win this thing. If this is the run to the finish. Kohai's in the mix. 2 laps down, but, you know. Could get one of their laps back at least. There's a trio of blue cars again. And now Shy Lily's to the front. I'll bring it back to the top of the leaderboard here. So now we have Shy Lily, Shalon, Snuffy, JoJo, Kaysan, Belle, Starlight, Subaru, Jordan, Michi, Ruby, Weebu, Greg, Iron Mouse, and Competito, the cars on the lead lap. I don't know anymore. I don't know how, but they are. Like I said, Mentrix and Soleil are the 2 cars 1 lap down. They're fighting for the lucky dog spot in case we get one more caution. Here comes Shalon to the race lead to the inside of Shy Lily. Oh boy, that was close. Hey, does Kason want to wreck her again? Because here they are, back once again, side by side between those two. Snuffy chops the nose off the 28. Hello. Snuffy gonna get involved, or no, not sorry. Is Kason gonna get involved in another incident? Who knows? They've been involved in more than not today. Jesus. Oh, the 18's in the wall again. Well, like I said, that damage is definitely not helping the 18, I'll tell you that much. That was Shalon's fastest lap, as well as Kason's fastest lap, as well as Snuffy's fastest lap, as well as Kohai's fastest lap. I think everybody's at their fastest lap. Sure. 250 laps in, why not? What a day. We have 5 cars out of the race, including Mint, Merryweather, Zool, Overdrive, and Kyoso. Those are all the DNFEs out of today so far. Here comes Kason to the lead. I don't necessarily think these were all done on purpose, but the timing couldn't have been any more hilarious for Kason and JoJo, because they've been involved in a couple incidents today. As well as Shy Lily. I mean, you can see the damage on the 32 on the side. They're coming up at the tail end of the field again. I can hear it. There's the fastest lap charts in case anybody really cared about that. Kason's got one of the fastest laps, not the, but one of. The other, the car in first in terms of the fastest lap is the car behind the 17. Well, sitting in 18th place, still could be worse. Speaking of that, they're the first car 2 laps down, followed by Chris, Dreamer, David, Ina, NASA, Fifi, Getu, and Fujikura. Then for the 3-lap down class, you have Zen, Kamalo, Kilovolt, Noriboshi, Larry, and William. Still in the 4-down club, you got Kurudo Kurenai and Doki Bird, and the only one 5-down is Asa. Quick championship update. I don't think much has changed, but championship leader coming into today's Doki Bird running 34th. Second, well, actually, no, not second. Sorry. Went down too far. Second is Noriboshi sitting in 30th. William is just behind them, tied with Soleil. William right now in 32nd. Jesus, I'm losing it. And 17th place is Soleil, who's doing the best out of everybody in the top 4 so far. Maybe top 5? Yes. So far, out of the top 5, Soleil's the best out of all the bunch, and it's somewhat not even close. If they could get back on the lead lap, it would be a much better day for them, championship-wise. But they're 15 ahead of behind of Doki Bird. Which I think is... Yeah, at the moment that's what it is. That's way more for Soleil, so they'll overtake Doki Bird in the standings, which means they'll overtake Noriboshi, and that also means they'll overtake William. So yeah, right now I do think Soleil would be the championship leader coming out of today's race. So there's that. Now Kason's putting more cars a lap down, or it's even more so, including the 3 of Doki Bird. It's just not necessarily the race, the 2-race pair to remember for the 3 team. California, they finished the only car 1 lap down because they put it under the white flag. Noriboshi had a decent finish, a solid enough finish to make it a 1-point deficit between them and Doki Bird. But now all that's thrown out the window because now you got to look back to the third and fourth place spot where Soleil and William were tied. And it was 15 points, and Soleil definitely has that. Soleil lost 2 spots out of the championship because of their bad day at California. And while today's not much better, it's still going to be enough to get the championship lead, if not be right at the cusp of it. Because you also have Snuffy, who could be in the mix as well. It's either going to be Soleil or Snuffy. Because Snuffy is running in 4th place at the moment, way better than Soleil. And Snuffy is 12 spots, or not 12 spots, 12 points behind Soleil. It'll be close. It's going to be close. If Snuffy can hang on to this 4th place spot, I think she might be the championship leader. So I have 50 to go. So there's still a ton of stuff that can happen. I mean, Snuffy has a couple cars surrounding them. I can go back and look and see. 24 is actually up to 2nd now, by the way. Fun fact. A little bit of space between the 33 and the cars ahead and the cars behind. So at the moment, right now, it's comfortably Snuffy. Because right now, like I said, Soleil is 15 back. Snuffy is 27 back. This is 12 spots. If Soleil can gain a couple spots because there's more cars going 1 lap down, this might be the best opportunity for Soleil. As long as they can get a top 15 out of this, they'll be in a good spot. But like I said, it's still gonna be a tight battle. I think it's still going to be a 5-point at most deficit between 1st and 2nd, but it's going to be new contenders up at the top of the board. So there's that. And I think I may stop the talk for championship speak until the end of this race. I think we're still going to have one more cycle of stops left because, I don't know, I haven't been paying attention to the intervals between the green flag stops. I'm going to be completely honest. Sorry. Is 4 a.m. and I am extremely done with this race. Shalon's back up to the 2nd spot. He's actually got only a couple of cars separating them in the 32. And Kohai has been chasing down the 32 to get a lap back, so it's not like the 28's fallen back. Like I said, lap traffic has really hurt the leaders a ton. If Kohai can make a move to get a lap back, that'll really help the 17 out. And again, like I said earlier, when the caution did come out for Mint, the reason why it did was because Mint was stopped on the track on the bottom. Shy Lily was able to get it running and was able to get it back going, and because of that, that wasn't a caution, which initially was to the detriment of Shy Lily. But because of the caution that came out only a couple laps later because of Mint being knocked out of the race legitimately due to the damage and being stopped on the backstretch down here, then that brought out the caution. So that's why there was a caution for Mint and not for Shy Lily. I don't really think I have to reiterate that, but, you know, just in case. Just in case. You never know. So right now, Shalon's dealing with a ton of lap traffic. I really thought the 28 was going to help them out. It really didn't do much. And right now, barring another caution, this might be the 32's race to lose. Just keep putting cars between them and whoever would be 2nd place. And just keep it on the racetrack. I know it was kind of difficult the last couple of times we've seen the 32, for better or worse, but as long as I keep it on the racetrack, they'll be able to get their, I think, first win of the season. Yeah, they have not even gotten a top 10 this season, let alone a win. So if Kason continues this run and just finishes in this first page, it's something from this season. Because every race so far, they've finished 11th or worse. Here they come into the pits. Because, yeah, this should be the last cycle of stops. Please no caution. Just please no caution. We've had 2 green flag stops and 2 cautions. Please, I am begging for no more cautions. There are more cars coming in around this time than the last stop. The last cyclist stop had a ton of drivers staying out longer, and it was only like a handful that would come in and out per lap. But it looks like this time, it looks like it's more of everybody coming in. Right now, Shy Lily's being scored the leader. What is in the pits? The next one would be JoJo, who's just now exiting the pits. And Kason immediately is back on top. So there's that. I think for the most part, those green flag stops were snappy. Still have a couple cars in and out, but I think because of how quickly everybody has been in and out, I feel like a caution wouldn't hurt as badly, but I still would not like one. Please. Damn it! Turn 1, kilovolts around. God damn it. Good timing, though. Oh, and she gets knocked by Dreamer. Look out! All good. Just can't have shit in Detroit. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. So this takes us back to the front stretch here. Watch the 4 here blending into the track. Just comes up into the 34, bumps into them, right into the 15, bam. Takes them around, puts Jordan back in the wall. Again, the 15's involved in stuff. And that takes the 34 spinning around. No major damage to anybody involved. At least in that one. Here comes Dreamer. Just nowhere for them to go. Not much damage there. Both cars just kind of spin 45 degrees sideways to the left. Dreamer does scrape the wall a little bit, but very minor damage, if anything. I should also mention this too real quick. I don't know that these cautions are happening. I genuinely don't. I'm legitimately just speaking out of my ass for all these races. And yet, somehow, that was the most ill-advised time for me to speak about not having cautions. I don't know why that just happened. You know how I just said that there was not a lot of damage to any of those cars in the pit lane? Or that got involved under that last caution? Yeah, well, Jordan decided to retire from the race after that incident. I don't know why. I didn't think it was a big enough hit, but apparently the damage was too much for the 15 on the front end there. And now they're out of the race. So that takes the 15 car out again, which is very unfortunate for them. They've had a handful of bad races, and this is not going to be any different, to say the least. Very unfortunate day for Jordan. They will join. Let's see, who will they be joining all together? They'll be joining Mint, Merryweather, Zool, Overdrive, and Kyoso in the garage a couple laps too early. Yeah, I'm just going to mention this again. I don't know exactly what's going to happen in these races. The only thing I know is like the qualifying order, and it's like that's the least of like the biggest stuff. Right? Like qualifying doesn't matter mostly in this. So because of that, you know, I've been very much just talking about how I really don't want to have any cautions. And then as soon as I say that, we get more cautions. I think if I shut up and don't speak about it anymore, I think we can run these last 25 laps under green. And without anybody really pitting, this is going to help sorting out stuff a lot, to say the least. So here's the top 10 in the terms of the running order at the moment. It'll be slightly closer once we get back going, because we're going to have cars on the inside line here. So there's the top 10. We have Kason, Snuffy, Starlight, Michi, Shalon, Subaru, Jojo, Belle, Weebu, and then Ruby. That's the top 10, and that's the 10 cars that are on the lead lap. The first car one lap down would be Competito in 11th, Shy Lily in 12th, Metrix in 13th, Greg in 14th, and Soleil in 15th. So a big up, little bit of a gain there for Soleil, hanging on by a thread here. And those are the 15 cars that are on the lead lap or one lap down. It'll be a very interesting restart, probably more interesting than the others, because you're going to have a lot more cars on the outside line and a ton more on the inside. All the cars on the inside line, like I said, one lap down or more, they'll be fighting to get back a lap or two. Everybody on the outside's on the lead lap, and there's only 10. 26 to go here at Bristol. The outside line is going to struggle to start this runoff. So you're going to get a couple cars getting back a lap or two, including NASA and Dreamer. Kason quickly back to the inside line to try and stay on top. Snuffy's trying to keep second place, but it's hard to do that on the outside line. And now he's going to lose a ton of time here as Kason's going to try and put the two cars ahead back a lap. A lap or another. And Doki Bird has retired. They blew an engine. Hold on a second. That's big. We go back. Oh, yeah, they blew it. They just blew it on the restart. The championship leader coming into today's race has blown their motor. Similar to Kelso. That takes them out of the race. So now the points game is wide open. The championship leader has retired from the race and is going to have another bad finish. It just wasn't their day today whatsoever anyways, but it's only going to get worse. They won't even be able to finish. Salvage what they could out of it. They'll finish 35th. 34th, actually. Sorry. 35th is Jordan. They have 5 cars out of the race. And Kason's running away with it. If you're wondering who got the free pass, I don't know. I guess whoever started in 10th place on the restart did, because we've had I think we added a couple cars on the... I mean, Shy Lily went down a lap, but I think Shy Lily went in, repaired their car more extensively under the green flag stop, which might not have been the best move, but then again, they were damaged hell and back, so I mean, what are you going to do? So Soleil's up to 14th. I mentioned them because Snuffy right now is in... Ooh, wow. Oh my god, we might have a tie if the positions stay where they are right now with Snuffy in 2nd and Soleil in 14th. We're going to have a tie for the championship lead. Because it's a 12-point difference between Snuffy and Soleil, and those two are going to be the top 2 in the championship, because everybody else in that hunt is either out of the race or doing terribly. I mean, NASA's in 22nd, so it's not like they're terrible at the moment. Competito could still be in the mix as well, with them being in 11th place, but the story's still roughly the same. I mean, they're all right on top of each other, too. Soleil and NASA are separated by 7 points. But then you go back to where Snuffy's at, and it's a 12-point difference. But I think Snuffy, at the same time, has also led a lap today, and Soleil hasn't. So that might be the difference between Snuffy and Soleil as a championship leader after today's race. Assuming, again, if the 33 doesn't lose a spot, and as well as if Soleil can hang on to where they're at. and may be able to gain a spot here shortly soon. I don't... Well, they're up to 13th, so never mind. They did gain a spot. They're up to 13th. Next car in line for them would be the 45. Whoa, look out. Oh, they're 3 wide. Also, the 5 could also be a thing as well. The 45 and the 5 are the 2 cars that Soleil could pass to get up to 11th. And that's as far as they can get. They have 11 laps to do so. Snuffy, meanwhile, 2nd place. Oh boy, and they're actually chasing down the race leader. Oh, this is huge, huge implications here. Here comes Snuffy to the inside for the race lead. 11 to go. This is huge for the championship. Soleil definitely doesn't want to see the 33 in victory lane regardless. Oh, and Snuffy's going to get the position 1 at the moment for the 33. With 10 laps to go, can Kason get back underneath? And does, for the lead. 9 laps to go. Here comes Kason. Whoa, little tight off 2 here. Ooh. Maybe contact. Oh, no, there is contact. They're in the wall. And sliding down the track. Can they keep it going? They do. Yellow flag is out. The top 2 take each other out. There's Soleil. Oh, my God. That's exactly what Soleil wanted to see. Oh my God. I'm just going to make a slow motion view of this entire lap because what a lap this was. Kason and Snuffy really tied off 2 here. First bit of contact. Snuffy trying to hang on. Dives it in too. Oh, just way too early on the turn into 3 there. And at first, I thought they were going to keep it. So, at first, I'm going to rewind it here for a second. When they first hit the wall, I'm thinking they're going to just, ride the wall. Because it does look like, they both can at the very least ride the wall and salvage something out of it. But then they both kind of lose it. And now you got this situation in front of everybody. The top 2 were sliding down the racetrack. Ooh, that was close. And there's the caution. Good call. Not a bad call by race control. Not a bad call whatsoever. But, oh, heartbreaker for these 2. Heartbreaker. 2 dominant cars taking each other out. And who's the one that's going to benefit the most? This one. Not only that, too, but then you also have Iron Mouse, Mentrix, Competito, NASA, and Dreamer all going up a lap. I think Fujikura... No, I was going to say Fujikura may be the first one that'll get a lap back, but no, that won't be happening. Ooh, who's actually going to get the lap... Who's going to get the lucky dog here? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Cinema. Absolute cinema. With the top 2 taking each other out, Competito and Mentrix will be back on the lead lap, as well as Soleil, because they will be the free pass. That is straight up cinema right there. That's insane. So we are going to have a 5-lap shootout here for the finish. And right now it's going to be Starlight ahead of Subaru back to 2nd place. However, there's 2 cars that are going to be separating the top 2. And this is a single file restart, so these 2 are not going to move to the inside line. So Subaru has to have 5 laps where they go through these 2 right here to get to the 24. But the 24 is going to jump out a big gap, so yeah, there's that. Shalon's in 3rd place. 4th place is Ruby Nekomata. 5th is Jojo. 6th is Weebu. 7th is Snuffy and Kayson's in 8th. And 9th place is Michi and 10th place is Melanie Bell. There's the rest of the field on back. Obviously all jumbled up and all that. Then you got Competito and Mentrix, and as well as Soleil, who's going to restart 13th, getting the free pass, like I said, in a 5-lap shootout to the finish here. As you see the rest of the field being scrolled on the screen, top left, with 5 laps to go. Oh boy, here we go. 6 cars out of the race. Hopefully no more than that with 5 laps to go. Starlight, Subaru, and Shalon, the top 3. The run to the finish is now here at Bristol. And a good start by Subaru. Bad start for Starlight. A horrendous restart by the 24. And here comes the 17. Side by side for the race lead here with 4 laps to go. A terrible restart by the 24. And it's Shalon and Subaru duking it out for the win here at Bristol. Jojo now up to 3rd. But with a lot of lap traffic ahead, it's down to just the top 2. Here comes Ruby, though. 3rd place. Ruby can make it 2 in a row if they get this win here with 2 to go. I thought Ruby was a lap down, not gonna lie. I apologize, but they're on the lead lap and they're in the lead. One last time around when they cross the stripe, can Ruby make it 2 in a row? White flag. Coming into today, 14th in the standings, winning California. Can she win again at Bristol? Turns 3 and 4. Maybe not as dramatic as California, but still dramatic enough. 2 in a row. Ruby Nakamata. Wow. What a race. Snuffy in 8th. Soleil in 11th. That might be your top 2 in the championship hunt. I mean, right off the bat, before I get into everything here, what a race altogether. This was definitely a Bristol race, for better or for worse. A lot of storylines, though, regardless. So, with that out of the way, official results for today's race here at Bristol Motor Speedway. A good day for Ruby that almost wasn't a good day for Ruby turns into a better day for them. They win for the 2nd week in a row, leading more laps today than they did at California with 24. Shalon, though, with a good 2nd place finish there, with Subaru in 3rd place, getting the most amount of laps led here today with 108. Weebu in 4th, and Jojo is 5th. Kayson to 6th. Starlight with a terrible restart, getting 7th place. Snuffy in 8th. Bell in 9th. Michi in 10th. And Soleil in 11th. Competito in 12th. Mentrix in 13th. That is the last car on the lead lap. A couple cars that were 1 lap down include Greg, Iron Mouse, and Shy Lily. A couple cars that were 2 laps down include Fifi, Kohai, David, and Dreamer, as well as Chris and NASA, taking us back to the 22nd spot. And as we continue to scroll down here, we also have cars that finished 3 laps down, which include Getu, Zen, Kamalo, and Ina. Once again, Kamalo having a good start to the race, ultimately not finishing where they needed to be. So there's that. 4 laps down, starts from 27th place. You got Fujikura, Noriboshi, Kuro Kurodai, and Larry. And 5 down, you have Asa, William, and Kilovolt. And cars that retired from the race all due to mechanical problems or a wreck. You have Doki Bird, who blew up. You have Jordan that got involved in a wreck with Kilovolt. You have Mint, who got involved. Actually, no, Mint also... Yeah, Mint, I should say. Yeah, Mint was involved in a wreck. Took them out. Merriweather broke something in their suspension. Took them out of the race. Zool got involved in an accident that took them out of the race. And Overdrive and Kyosho also had mechanical problems that took them out of the race. 7 cautions, by the way. Good God. 37 lead changes over 14 different drivers. And with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the points. Because you want to talk about a shakeup. here's the shakeup of the century. We're 16 races in, and we have drivers gaining 5 spots or losing 5 spots still. And it's Soleil that has the championship lead over Noriboshi and Snuffy, as well as Doki Bird, who still is in the mix. All of those drivers are less than 10 points back from each other. So it is a 4-way going into the next race here. But then you also have Jojo, Competito, Weebu, and NASA all within half of a field's worth of points behind. So we have 8 drivers all within a reasonable shot at the championship after this race. And then you also add in William and now Ruby into the mix, as they are both still in contention with 21 and 29 points back respectively. And then you have to go back to Mint and Kyoso, who are 41 back in 11th and 12th. While they're tied, they are still basically out of the championship hunt for the moment being. But still 10 drivers all on top of each other going into the next race, which takes place at Old Spice, another track that we went to in the first season, which was entertaining to say the least. So now with Ruby, with 2 wins on the season, they're going to be battling Competito for who has the most wins of the season and the championship. You also have Melanie Bell with 2 wins of the season as well, but they are 16th in the points at the moment. Oh man, this is gonna get good moving forward. So we're 16 races in, and we still have 10 drivers all within a shot for the championship heading into the next race. I don't think this is really gonna end anytime soon. We still have Old Spice, North Wilkesboro, Memphis, Phoenix, Michigan, Rainbow Road, Charlotte, Las Vegas, and Homestead coming up, being the last couple races we got left. Oh boy, what a series of events we got going forward. But thank you all so much for tuning in to this week's race. We'll be back with Old Spice and a much bigger points battle. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care and have a good night.